Yeah, guys, just gotta get comfortable. All right, this is take two. I did take one. I had my big baggy shorts on, but my catheter bag was showing, and my wife wasn't too impressed and said I had to do it with my pants on. So we're back here doing take two. All right, I thought I'd give a little update where I'm at post operation. We're at day 6. I had the operation, prostrate removal, done on Monday morning. First thing I was in at 8 o'clock, and today's Sunday. Just stepping back a bit and a few things. If anyone's ever going through this sort of thing, to set up and try and make this as easy as you can for yourself. In my situation, I let my parents know, let my 2 younger brothers know, and all the family know exactly what had happened and what was going to be happening. And I think that's very, very important, to have that out in the open. No one's whispering around corners, and it's out, and we can all talk about it. Another thing I wanted to do, and it's funny, it kicks in. You want to protect your family and the youngest and vulnerablest, and that's my little boy Danny. He's only just turned 13, so we informed the school, and they set up a welfare network for him at the school. A particular welfare psychologist that he could go and speak to at any time, and that was open about anything. So if he was having issues or getting scared or just needed someone to talk to, that was there and that was provided. And what the school did for Daniel was absolutely fantastic. And that's very, very important. You've got to recognise that if you've got younger kids to get that set up and get that in place. Obviously for myself, I did a lot of Googling through a lot of the university and university hospital sites just to find out what I was going through or what I was about to go through. One of the great things that I had through this was a fantastic support network. I've mentioned my family. My wife has been an absolute rock, making me get up, making me do my own things. You know, Rose, go and get me a drink of water. No, get out and get your own drink of water. Rose, can you make me my lunch? No, you get up and make your own lunch. Tough love, but she's been there the whole time, behind me and lifting me and getting me through particularly the post-operative side of this procedure. Obviously, post-op, you'll go through a lot of the checks on yourself for your health. I guess anaesthetists like to do risk minimisation, so you get the ECG and you get all the tests done, the physicals, all the bloods done to make sure that you're okay to go and have this operation. You're not going to, something unexpected or untoward's not going to happen while you're on the table. About 4 days before the operation, I had a phone call from Sarah, who was the anaesthetist, asking me a lot of questions, but also allowing me to ask a lot of questions as well, and answered those beautifully for me. We also had we had an offer from the hospital to go and do a one-on-one with the urology nurse, and that was Selene, and she was fantastic. So looking at all the products, a bit like a fashion parade, we're looking at all the products that are available, all the different catheter types and how they're set up, all the different man pads to use, the level 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and when you might need to use those. We went through a whole range of things in that, and it was only supposed to go for half an hour, but I was there for an hour and a half, and she was very, very patient and very, very upfront with all her answers for my questioning. Obviously the big day, and I don't know if anybody has actually been into a hospital and been through a procedure where you're having a major operation, it is like a machine. It is just so well oiled and hand in glove the way the process in that hospital runs. I'm sure there's chaos behind the scenes, but up front it just looks so well oiled and so well organised all the way through. So you have those little funny moments, and I was sitting in the pre-op area where everyone's lined up before they're taken over to the anaesthetic room, and one of the things that has to happen is you get a body shave. And I had Big Simon, the nurse, came in, and it's like every nurse that's there has a specific job that they do throughout this process. And Simon's job, and he took great enjoyment to it, was doing the body shave. So you stand up on a mat, and he sits down there and manscapes you all over. And yeah, down below, it's not a pretty look, Simon. You really got to look at how you do your manscape. It looks like the tide's coming with this, with half the seaweed washed up along the shore. But that was a bit of a funny moment, and I must admit I had a giggle when I laid back down again. And then you head off into the pre-op area where the anaesthetist is and the anaesthetist nurse, and they're sticking all sorts of blocks in you and needles in you, and calming you down, and talking you through what's going to be happening. I spoke to the surgeon before I went in. He was very, very reassuring. Went through very quickly what was going to be happening. I could actually see through the windows the Da Vinci machine. It actually is called the Da Vinci machine, believe it or not. So that was the robot-assisted surgery machine that was going to be used. So not much I can remember after that. The next time I woke up, I was in recovery, and I was in an enormous amount of pain. I was in recovery for over 2 hours while I was trying to get control of the pain. I had hot blankets continually put over me, and I was just sweating like crazy, but the pain was intense, and I think they sort of start off on the lowest levels they can, and if needed they start lifting them a little bit. So pre-op was a bit of a blur. I can remember groaning pretty heavily the entire time, and doctors coming in and looking at my eyes and looking at my cuts and everything. I must admit my tummy looks like a bit of a cheese grater at the moment. After recovery, wheeled up to the wards, into the rooms, and getting wheeled in there, and my personal wife said, "Oh, you don't look good." And, I must have looked shocking when I came back, and I was probably a little bit delirious as well. But they hook you up all the pain management. You've got the PSA button that you push to meter in the narcotics, try and dull that pain out, and it is set up on a timer, so you just can't keep pumping at it. Late Tuesday, which is the second day or day after the surgery, I started getting all the blocks and all the drains and all the other paraphernalia out, and was onto oral pain relieving then. But it gave me the opportunity to get up for the first time and go and have a shower, and I'll tell you what, that was like heaven on a stick. So very, very relieved to get that done. And then Wednesday morning, first thing, I was sent home. So I was in hospital for 1 day, recovery, and then sent home, which I was a little bit surprised about. And when I did get home on Wednesday, I was still on the narcotics. I was on endo to try and relieve that pain, because it was still very painful around the tummy. And the narcotics that you're pumped up with certainly have a double-edged sword, and I'll go through that in a little while too. Thursday was absolutely excruciating. I had the most enormous, almost horrific bowel pain. My stomach was blown up. It was hard, and I was in an awful lot of pain for nearly 4 or 5 hours, to the extent that I was actually shaking badly, and in a pretty bad sweat. My temperature must have been sky high, and often when you get that bowel pain, it comes in waves and then it goes. Well, this was just excruciating 1 minute and horrific the next. There was no let up on that pain for that time, and you often see on the TV shows where people in an ER or they're an RPA program there, where they're getting the results off their specialist, and it's all good and all the rest of it. Well, I was sitting on the can trying to relieve myself for about the 20th time that day, and my wife knocked on the door and said, "Look, the urologist is on the phone, he's got your results." And the way I was, I couldn't care less. I was just in absolute agony. So I said, "Rose, please take the message and let me know what's going on." So, and I did hear her say, "And it's all out." So that gave me a little bit of, yep, it's there. But I tell you what, when relief came, it was it was unbelievable. It was the most wonderful feeling to get that pain out and gone. But getting there, oh gosh, yeah. there's a term that's mentioned, and it's you wouldn't wish this on your worst enemy, but look, I'd wish this on my best friend. If he had to go through this to save his life, you'd do it 10 times over. And as I said, and I sat down with Rose and we went through what the specialist had said. He'd told me that it was all out, and all the margins were really, really good. So touch wood, I'm 100% cancer free, and but we'll still need to be vigilant and keep our eye on what's going on. So I'll still have to go and have the PSA test, the prostate specific antigen tests, fairly regularly to make sure that things aren't popping up again, and maybe there's something else lurking in there. But at the moment, I'm clear in my mind and I'm clear in my body, so that's what I want to be. Obviously, post-operative, you come home with a catheter bag and a stovepipe up Mr. Johnson, and that takes a little bit of getting used to. And we have husband and wife time in the morning when we both sit down and we wash the bags out. So that's our special time in the morning. But that's a small price to pay to compare to what it could have been if I had to let this go, or my GP wasn't vigilant and said, look, I'm not happy, it's clipped up a little bit, that PSA level has gone up. And just to go through the numbers, my PSA was always a little bit high for the last 15 years. It had always been bumping around 1.8, 1.9, but at one stage there I went to my doctor and it popped up to 2.8, and that was when he said, no, we're going to go and see the specialist and see what's going on. So I did another test 6 months later through the specialist. It was down to 2.6. We did another one again down to 2.4, and he said, no, look, there's probably nothing there, but let's get the MRI done, and obviously the rest is history with the results. But, you know, vigilance and that track record on your PSA is just, I can't emphasise just how important that is. You really need to get that test done once a year to see how your body is tracking, so that if anything does come up, you can get it nipped in the bud. I've had some fantastic support from my workmates and my friends. The messages that I've had are so positive, and that goes a long way to your mental and emotional stability. Having the family support, having support from all your friends and mates, and having support from your workmates, and just having them, you know, touch on how you're going, anything we can do, whatever you need, let us know. And we're all in there, you know, hoping the best for you. It's been absolutely fantastic, and that takes a lot of that mental stress away, knowing that you've got that support there that you can call on any time, and not only for me but also for Rose and the kids. So that's been really, really important. I want to mention one particular person, and I did mention in my previous video that if anybody out there has been through this firsthand, drop me a line, and you know, I've got some silly questions maybe that I want to ask about how you're going, if you mind. And Gary from the US has been absolutely fantastic, and being able to put down in words how I'm feeling, what my anxieties are, and to get the beautiful responses back from Gary, very, very frank about what he's going through, has been an absolute godsend, and I can't thank him enough for reaching out and allowing me to do that. So thanks, Gary. That has been fantastic. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I get comments that along the lines of, well, you know, you've beaten cancer, you've had a fight and you've beaten cancer. Well, that's not really the case. I didn't even get a chance to fight. Medical science took over for me. They checked my numbers. They said I had something with medical science. There was a solution. I went and took it, and all I've got to deal with is some aftermath effects, short term, hopefully. And so I didn't even get a chance to fight this. I've got a good mate of mine who's fighting it at the moment, and Tony, I'm really thinking of you, mate. He's just gone through his second bout of chemo and radio, and look, fingers crossed, touch wood, Tony, that it's going to give you some relief, mate, and you're going to live with us an awful lot longer, and you deserve it, mate. So I'm sure Tony wouldn't mind, but he sent me a message, and look, this is so important for us as blokes. Now, my father, Stanley, spoke to Tony about where I was at and what my pathology results were. So he's come back. Tony's just sent me a message, and this is the gist of it. So you told me about your news, great stuff. Thing is, you know lots more about yours and men's health issues after the scare. It was never explained to me about what a prostrate did or could do later in life, and I think there should be more health courses taught at school of awareness in this area. You would perhaps agree after your experience of grain. Great to hear of your news. So thanks, Tony. And look, there's a real message in that for everyone, and education is prime. The message needs to get out there about men's health and that this is a real issue. And if it's caught early, it's a 90-95% chance of survival after 15 years, which is a lot better than other diseases our bodies can get. And look, as I said, a little bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort at the moment, but I'm going to get through this. I'm going to live a long and healthy life. Blokes like Tony are in a position there where they're doing chronic medical management of that prostate cancer. And if that education is out there, many men don't have to go through that. They can get it nipped in the bud very, very early. I reckon there's another group of blokes that deserve some recognition on this, and it's what I call the pioneers. And I have a little bit of a saying in business, is that pioneers perish. These are the guys I can imagine back in the 70s when the professors and the doctors came to them and said, look, we've got these new procedures we want to try out with radical prostatectomy removals. We've never tried this before, but we need someone to put their hand up and be a first. And that group of men that went through those trials, allowing those surgeons to hone their skills about what margins are needed, what can and what can't be done to allow that man to live a reasonably normal life after the procedure. And I can imagine the horrific time that those men had after that procedure while those surgeons were learning about what they can and what they can't do and how far they can go. So I think we really need to pay homage to those blokes and those blokes' families that went out as pioneers on this type of surgery to get us to where we are today, because it's certainly saved my life and it's given me opportunity that I might not have had in 5 years' time. I really take my hat off to those blokes, and I just shudder to think what they went through. Right, so what's up front? Well, on Tuesday, so today is Sunday. Tuesday, I get the catheter out, and then I'm onto the man pads, and then I'll need to wait till my tummy heals a little bit more before I can start getting back into those specific isolating pelvic floor exercises, and then try and regain bladder control. So I'm hoping that I can get that back fairly quickly. Some men it takes 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and some men it's not 100%. And it's a procedural thing on the surgery about where the cancer is and how far the surgeon has had to cut to take out those margins. And this operation took just over 3 hours, and for a little gland that's about the size of a walnut, it is absolute microsurgery and the thinnest of margins to try and work around all the nerves and muscles to try and keep some hope alive when it's out that everything's going to work again. And as I said years ago, the techniques that have been made available today certainly weren't available for those pioneering blokes that went through this procedure. So the catheter's out on Tuesday, and I'm probably going to reach a new level of relationship with my urologist. I've been told it's going to be fairly stingy as this thing's coming out, so we'll see how that goes. As I said, my tummy's still healing. I've got 6 incisions all over it. One reasonably large where they've had to open up to remove the prostrate out. And I've got a nice big one on the side there where the big drain tube was sitting. But I'm off all painkillers at the moment. I'm feeling so much more comfortable. Trying to get all those body functions balanced out a little bit. It's been a little bit awkward, but I'm there now. I'm 95% there now, so I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with where that's at. A little bit of time before I get back in the workshop. Obviously, I'm fairly slow on my feet at the moment, and I have to keep. I can't sit on my butt. I have to sit on a butt cheek because it feels like it's fairly painful. Obviously, there's a big void where some meat's been taken out between my pelvis and my bladder, and when it's pushing up like that, it's not real comfortable, and there's a fair bit of pain with that. So at the moment, I try and get myself comfortable and try and stay there for as long as I can before I have to move again. Anyway, just a quick update, and as I said, I'll give you an update in a week to 2 weeks' time, and let you know how I'm progressing and how everything's looking and how I'm feeling. So stay tuned for that one. Hang in with me if you can, guys. As I said, I want to get back in the workshop. That's one of my major goals, and it's important to have those goals, something to strive for and something to look forward to, that motivates you, and that's certainly one of them. So thanks again, guys, for hanging in, and we'll see you in a week or two. Bye for now.